G'day guys, today I'll be building a chest of drawers with full dovetail construction. This video is a shorter version. I've got a longer version up on my second channel. There'll be a link in the description below. So if you want to check that out, you're more than welcome to. There's a little bit more detail in that other video if you're interested. So jumping straight in, let's get past some of the technical details. It's about 1 meter wide, 820 millimeters high, 500 millimeters deep, using 4 drawers that are graduated in height. The top drawer is 140 millimeters high, then it's 150 mil, 160 mil, and 170 mil at the bottom. We're using a 1:8 ratio dovetail on all of this where necessary, and there's a few mortise and tenon joints in there as well. It's all made out of Tasmanian oak or Victorian ash. It's actually the same timber, they're just commercial names that are given to the same species of timbers. And sometimes I'll say Tasmanian oak, sometimes I'll say Victorian ash, but it always means the same thing. It's this brown stuff that I'm chopping into with a chisel. I highly recommend using a router to clean away the bulk waste in these dovetail sockets. It just makes it very easy, very quick, and it does a really accurate job. If you just have a look at the bottom of those sockets, that is dead flat, perfectly clean, much cleaner than my ugly chiseling, that's for sure. So the two sets of dovetail sockets on the right hand side of that panel, that's the bottom of the side panel. 2 rails are going to sit in there. Normally I would put a full bottom panel in there, but I'm trying to reduce the overall weight of the finished piece here because it's a very heavy piece. This is all hardwood and it's 25 mil thick, and there's quite a lot of timber in this piece. So it ended up being very heavy, so I've tried to reduce the weight wherever possible, and one of those areas is by not putting a solid bottom in there. What I'm doing now is routing some grooves to accept the drawer runners, and there's also going to be horizontal drawer dividers which get connected to the 2 side panels with a sliding dovetail. So this is only a short sliding dovetail socket that's about 65 mil wide or thereabouts to accept the roughly 65 mil wide rails. And there's the 2 finished side pieces ready for glue up. One of the beautiful things about this dovetail construction method is that the glue up becomes very easy, very simple. So at the moment I've got my 2 side panels standing up vertically, I've got my 4 bottom rails in there, and I can just hammer them home. Then I can let the glue dry. I don't have to come back to it. It can just sit there for a year if I wanted to. And then afterwards I can come back and hammer in the top panel with glue, ideally without cracking any joints. Things happen. I'm not going to cry over spilt milk, just live and learn, eh? And then from there I've got my top, my sides and my bottom in there, and I can let that sit there for 2.5 years, which is exactly what I did. This sat here for 2.5 years. I just went on to other projects because I kind of get bored with projects. I've got all sorts of half finished projects here, and eventually I'll get around to them, but I like machining the timber. I don't really like sanding and finishing timber. So I like to start new projects, but I don't like finishing them. At the moment I'm going to cut in a rebate around that back edge to accept a plywood panel, and that plywood panel will be cut dead square so that when I insert it into that rebate, it'll pull that carcass perfectly square. It just needed some gentle persuasion. Now if you look really closely, I'll be 2.5 years older, grumpier, fatter, greyer, balder, angrier, but here I am cutting the dovetails to slide into the sliding dovetails, because these are the horizontal draw divider rails, and we want them to fit nice and tight. And also I need to run a mortise into the back edge of these to accept a draw guide, and I've just chosen to use a slot cutter. It's an easy way to do it. It's not the best way of doing it, but it's very easy and quick, because zap zap, I'm done. These are the draw runners. I simply need to put a tenon on the end of that to match the mortise, or the groove that I just cut into the back of those horizontal draw rails, draw divider rails. And we want this to fit exactly flush on the top surface and on the bottom surface, because the draw runs across the top of it, and it also runs along the bottom edge of it as well. So it has to be spot on perfect, and I'm pretty bloody happy with that fit. So now this carcass has been drying for 2.5 years, and I can simply tap in these front rails. It took some doing because these joints are unbelievably tight. Like, I'm pretty impressed with myself with making these joints as tight as what they are, but it was actually quite a lot of hammering to get them in there. You want them dead flush on the front. Then this is the carcass flipped over. That draw runner gets glued in to the mortise and tenon behind the front rails. This is really important. So that gets glued in. That's a nice solid joint. When I put the rail in from behind, like this one here, the mortise and tenon does not get glued, because that side panel is going to expand and contract throughout the seasons as it absorbs and releases moisture. So if I have that mortise and tenon glued in there, the side panel will try to expand. It won't be able to, so it will end up cracking. So if you allow this slot to, or that joint to remain loose without any glue, that joint will simply open and close as it needs to, and that's really important. If you learn anything from this video, that's what you want to learn. You'll see at the end of it there is a great big 5mm gap between those two joints, because that's what needs to be. So if the side panel contracts, it's got 5mm to close up before it can't move anymore, and it's not going to close up by 5mm. It might move by 1 or 2mm at best. You can see the gaps right there. They're planned and very technical. Alright, we're well and truly racing along here. So we've got the carcass all built, and we've made a big box, and we've segmented that big box into 4 openings. What I'm doing now is I need to create the draw sides, the draw front and the draw backs to fit into each of those respective openings. Now I want those drawers to fit in there tight at this point in time anyway. So I'm measuring it all out and shaving it down just so it fits perfectly. After I've got the draw joinery cut and I've got the drawers assembled, I'll come back and shave everything down so that there's clearance on the side. Not a lot of clearance. It's going to be a very tight fit across the width of the drawer, but on the height of the drawer I'm probably going to make it have about 1.5mm of clearance, because that'll allow the drawer sides, the drawer front and the drawer back to expand in the middle of winter here in Melbourne, where it absorbs the moisture and the timber actually expands because it absorbs the moisture and it grows fat, just like our human bodies. If we drink in a lot of water, we become, is it bloated? I don't know, we swell up with water anyway. The same thing happens with timber, so you have to allow for that. So I'm using a pretty standard practice of using a half blind dovetail on the front of the drawers and then a through dovetail on the rear of the drawers. Personally, I like the half blind dovetails. I find them easier to create. A lot of people think it's easier to create the through dovetails. I'll never accept that. I always think it's a lot easier to create the half-blind dovetails because you only have one surface that you need to make look good, and anything that happens under the surface, well, you never see it again afterwards, so it doesn't matter. Whereas on the through dovetails like these ones here, I've got two surfaces that I need to make look good, but at the end of the day, even if these ones look terrible, it's at the back of the drawer, so you never actually see them ever again anyway, unless you pull the drawer all the way out of the carcass, which I don't do that. I've specifically gone out of my way to cut the joinery so that when I hammer these side panels home, the side panels actually stick out from the front and the rear panels just a little bit, about 1/2 millimeter thereabouts. That way I can come back once everything's dry and plane down the side panels so that everything's nice and flush and looks good, but it gives me that meat to plane down the width of the drawer so that I can fit it to the drawer opening just perfectly, because I want it to be, if the drawer opening is 1 meter wide, for example, I want my drawer to be 1 meter wide. I certainly don't want my drawer to be, I don't know, like 999, because then that's actually a loose fitting drawer. You might say it's only 1 millimeter, but it's actually a loose fitting drawer, and you end up with all sorts of other problems. So I want this to be a very, very perfect fit. And this is what I can do right here. I can just plane it down beautifully, test fit and test fit and test fit until it works, and once it works I stop planing immediately. Got to be pretty happy with that. I'm pretty bloody happy with it. Now here we can start working on the base. I had all sorts of advanced, super creative ideas for the base of this chest of drawers, but then I got up to the stage of creating the base and I thought, I can't be bothered doing anything overly technical, so here's 4 tapered little legs. Very, very easy to create. It took me, I don't know, an hour to create or whatever it was. Very easy, but it works so well. And if you haven't got yourself an edge sander, you need one. Look how good that was. They're all sanded, ready to go. They're just held on by insert nuts into the bottom rails there with a demon bolt, bolting them into the bottom there. It allows me to take them off so I can get them stained up and polished nice and easily, and it also allows me to push this carcass up the stairs nice and easily without having to be caught up by those legs, because you can take the legs off and you've got a nice flat bottom to push up the stairs. You can see that there's a lot of bog and filler in this. There's a lot of cracks and defects through the timber. It's very low quality timber, but once I stain it brown like I did, you can't see any of the cracks or anything like that. So that all worked pretty good. Always remember to support your panels when you're trying to plane, otherwise the weight of the plane and your shoulders and your arms will actually deflect the panels and you won't actually be able to plane very well at all. Just a nice final check to make sure everything pulls up nice and flush, even though it doesn't really matter because I did set these drawers to fit into the drawer opening by about 5 millimeters, so the drawer rails actually sit proud of the drawer fronts just that little bit. This here is teak brown stain. It's just an alcohol stain or spirit stain, and right there they are the things that stop the drawers from going all the way to the back. It's a drawer stop. It just hooks onto the back edge of the front of the drawers, and we'll install some drawer handles, drawer pulls, and the way that I've located that is they are in the middle of the 2 outer thirds of the drawer width, so 1/6 in from the edge of the drawer, if that makes any sense. thank you very much for watching. Remember to hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Catch us later.